What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So, Survivor Season 49, Episode 11 is here. Now, last time out, I said was one of the best episodes of the Survivor new era. And I still stand by that a week later. I think it was incredible from start to finish. Tribal Council, incredible. And in the end, unfortunately, Jawan, who was a very strong player in this game, and I believe was a real threat to win this game, did end up going home. Now, Christina played an idol on Steven. Didn't need to. Neither of them got votes. Rizzo played his fake idol, and we'll get more of that, more to that here in a second. But in the end, Jawan did go home. Sad to see him go. But Rizzo, Savannah, and Sophie, and really you can include Yellow Sophie in that as well. Sophie Squared, if you will, have really been kind of running the game really since the merge. Kind of after that first vote or so, they've kind of been working their way up from the bottom. But they are definitely seeming like they are in control at this point in the game. Now, will that dominant alliance continue here tonight as we are getting close within a week or so in game time to the finale and, the opportunity to win $8 million and the title of Sole Survivor, of course. But before we do jump into this episode, if you could just hit that like and subscribe button down there. We'll have more Survivor 49 content on the channel, so just make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. So back at camp after Tribal, Christina is like, y'all are the best liars. Rizzo asked why the idol was played on Steven, and Rizzo said that the intention of the fake idol was to get Christina to actually play hers, but she beat him to the punch, essentially. He just played it, and he said that he thought the jury liked it as well. I'm curious because I know, I forget what season it was, but someone essentially did the fake idol and everything. Jury wasn't rocking with it. I don't think the jury will have much problem with it. Maybe a little bit, like a person or two could possibly have a problem with it, but overall, I think it was a good move from Rizzo. Yellow Sophie doing some damage control with Steven and Christina, explaining that she did that and turned on Jawan because he controlled the last couple votes, she felt like, and that Sage would never write Jawan's name down, which is probably true, so that's why she made the flip and did that. But she heads over to Sage as well, who is very upset, doesn't even really seem like she wants to talk to her. Blue Sophie joins in on the conversation as well, and Yellow Sophie explains that, Jawan was a much bigger threat to her game as well, and Sage is like, you just handed her $1 million, obviously probably talking about Savannah here. And she said that what hurt the most was that she had a smile on her face when Jawan was voted out. Now Sage feels kind of out of luck here, and she doesn't want Sophie here anymore. The next day, Rizzo tells Blue Sophie that he thinks that Yellow Sophie is with them, and they don't care who it is, as long as it's not one of them three, Savannah, Sophie, or Rizzo. And Sophie feels, at the bottom of that three, the main alliance right there with Rizzo and Savannah. But, she says she probably will turn on them at some point, and, feeling that she's at the bottom of those three. But even though this is kind of the last vote that they have to get through, if they get to 6 with a solid 3, Rizzo's idol, Sophie with her secret knowledge is power advantage as well, pretty dangerous. But if there's a move to be made, kind of has to be made now. So she talks with Sage about, essentially saying she wants to go for Savannah and Rizzo. She sees the game of, hey, we can't really go to the end, with her, and we need to get someone out. And she sees, and she's like, we need to, probably make a move here. And she really does seem like want to work with Sage and kind of take this gamble on her game at this point to try to win $1 million. And Sage is pretty much leaning towards wanting Yellow Sophie out now, since she felt the biggest betrayal from her at the Jawan vote the night previously. A vote comes asking for one person to go on a strenuous journey, and no one really wants to go. Sage is like, I'm 50-50. Steven, and she's like, Steven, if you're 100%, you can go. So Steven goes, and Savannah is hoping that with Steven being one of the bigger challenge threats so far, obviously it's been Steven, Sophie, Yellow Sophie, and Savannah winning the challenges. So hoping this kind of tires him out for the immunity challenge. Yellow Sophie and Savannah talk about being down for going for Steven. And worst case for them, obviously, is he gets something on the journey. And Sophie Squared talk about kind of backup plans if Steven does have something or wins immunity. And they both understand that probably would have to be Rizzo or Savannah. And they agree that Savannah is the bigger threat as of right now. And with that, we go to Steven's journey. And he knows how important this journey is if he loses his vote. You're sitting there with 7. You don't have a vote. And knowing that he's been kind of, in the wrong voting group the last two tribals, and his name's been thrown out there as well. So very important journey for him. You have to solve a lock combination, getting numbers from around the island. Essentially, you have to do a circle around the island, not just a straight run around the island. No, they're splashing water, rocks, everything. It's a lot. The tide is rising, and as soon as the tide rises high enough, it'll drop the advantage into the ocean. You don't get it, and you also lose your vote. So he sets out, he goes, he gets it just in time. He gets there, smashes the advantage to get it. So it's a secret block a vote. You have to, let it be known before tribal who you are blocking a vote. And when they go up there, they won't know who blocked the vote, but their vote will be blocked, not be able to vote. So he doesn't lose his vote as well, so that's a big plus as well. And an incredible journey challenge overall, one of the most challenging and taxing ones. Going back, there's definitely been someone, obviously you think of the beginning of the game, those sweat savvy challenges, but this was a lot because you're running around doing this physical endurance around the island, up, down, rocks, water, everything, running endurance, as well as trying to remember the numbers going around as well. So incredible job. Props to Steven for getting it done. But back at camp, Rizzo, Sav, and Yellow Sophie, Sophie Squared, should I say, trying to catch the chickens, but no luck at all. Steven gets back to camp and he tells them everything about the challenge and that he got an advantage, but not what it is, leaving that kind of mystery out there. And smart move by him because Steven can tell Rizzo is now working everything in his head, working, okay, what if this, what if this? And Rizzo, thinks it's a vote steal. And Sophie isn't worried because of her knowledge is power advantage. She's like, hey, I can just steal this and, whatever, no one know about it. And Rizzo tells Steven, pretty direct, like, I know this game. I feel like I have a good pulse on this game. I feel like it's a steal a vote. It's like, you don't have to confirm or deny, but I feel like it's a steal a vote. Which kind of works for Steven, as he says, because it's a little bit more powerful than a block a vote. But we head to the immunity challenge, and it's a guaranteed spot in the final 6, plus a reward. Spaghetti, garlic bread, juice iced tea, tiramisu for dessert as well. And wow, let me just say, Steven goes for it full throttle. I do not know how that thing fell. It fell like 2 or 3 seconds after he was good and declared the winner, but Steven goes for it. He gets it full throttle, wins immunity, wins the reward as well, chooses Christina and Rizzo to enjoy the reward with him. So plans will have to change. Obviously, Sage wants Sophie gone. Now, where will the other group want to go? That Steven is no longer available to be voted out. Steven, Christina, and Rizzo enjoying their spaghetti, their reward, but the game is still bubbling. And Rizzo is the first one to kind of bring up, tells them that he doesn't plan on playing his idol on, someone else. And, he's kind of looking for a common enemy. He wants to make sure that, they feel like he's with them and that they have a common enemy to go after. He suggests Yellow Sophie. Voted correctly every time, he says, finished the top 3 pretty much every immunity challenge, and she can talk very well. So Steven is considering it, and then, he can save his advantage for one more round at 6, and it becomes even more valuable then at 6. And everyone says they're comfortable with it, but Christina's not. She wants Savannah out. They had that thing a couple episodes ago as well. Just haven't really meshed, so that's where she wants to go. But back at camp, Sophie Squared trying to work on their previously talked about plan to get Savannah out with Sage, but Sage wants Yellow Sophie. She's not coming off of that. She tells Sophie and Savannah as well, and they all agree to go after Yellow Sophie. Savannah knows that if this plan doesn't work, she's probably going home. So everyone comes back from the reward. Rizzo immediately connects with Sophie, and Sophie tells Rizzo that Yellow Sophie wants Savannah out. So now Rizzo's like, now this is even more advantageous for my game. This person is trying to get one of my closest allies out of the game. So Rizzo with the cherry on top comment, which the episode name, Rizzo talks to Sage and a line on Yellow Sophie, wanting to get Yellow Sophie out of this game. Sage tries to get Christina and Steven on board with the Sophie vote as well. Steven thinks if voting for Sophie is the best way to save his advantage for another day, then it's worth it, essentially, because, having that advantage at 6, same thing if Rizzo can save that idol for 6 as well, becomes even more powerful. So with that, fewer people in the game. So now with the numbers the way they are, Blue Sophie, pretty much has a lot of power with the kind of, where the numbers are at 3-3 going into this thing. She's kind of not in the middle. She has her alliance, but she has talked about possibly turning on her alliance that she's had in this game. But is this the right time for her, essentially? And does she turn on her allies and go to the end of the game with people that she doesn't really trust and hasn't, really worked with a lot of them in this game? So at Tribal Council, Sage gets emotional talking about the Juwan blindside and how much he meant to her out here. And obviously, clearly, that was a big revenge and a big talking point during this Tribal Council of getting someone out. Is it about revenge? Is you know what, they talk about Steven's success on the journey and no one knowing what the advantage is. The challenge domination, how mainly 3 people have won the challenges. Obviously, Sophie, Yellow Sophie, Savannah, and Steven being those 3. And Christina and Sav basically put it all out there that they really just don't like each other. And Christina says it's a strong dislike and between each other and just strong personality differences. We saw the thing a couple episodes ago. Savannah's just very direct overall. And Sav says we don't necessarily have to all agree on the why someone needs to go, but can agree on the name. And I think that's, kind of the gist of what this vote is. Different people, different, agendas. Obviously, Sage wants Sophie out for revenge for voting, her closest ally, Jawan, out of the game. Rizzo and, Sophie, Savannah, they could want Yellow Sophie out of this game because she brought up wanting Savannah out of this game. And that she's a challenge threat as well. And they want Savannah out of this game because they think she's played a good overall game. Whatever. Everyone has different reasons why they want someone out. But if you can align on, a name, especially when the majority is 4 here, then, that's the way the night's going to go. So, this close to the $1 million, we get to the vote. No idols, no advantages played. So, Yellow Sophie does go home. A funny moment on the way out. She says, no, none of you can have my jacket. But played a really good game. But Sage gets her revenge in this one. And next week, the penultimate episode of Survivor, season 49. And looks like it's an all-out war. Tears at the challenge. Rizzo says, wants to crush his dreams. It's Steven using that advantage. Rizzo has to use his idol here coming up. So we have the advantage in play. We have the idol in play. So a lot at stake next week leading up to the finale. Now, will the trio, really is kind of my big questions going into next week, will the trio continue to dominate, or will things be switched up? We're getting to the point here, especially with Yellow Sophie, who they've worked with a lot. That was kind of a solid 4. Now this thing's kind of even. So if someone wants to flip, especially now if Sophie wants to flip on them and get whoever doesn't, if neither of Rizzo or Sophie, or Rizzo or Savannah, should I say, if neither of them win immunity, they only have the one idol so far. So, and Sophie could use her steal a vote and get the idol as well. So that's in place. So if she wants to, that could be her big move there. At 6, you have Stevens, block a vote as well. So a lot at play going into the penultimate episode. Can't wait to see it next week. But anyway, that'll do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.